Season finale of The Acolyte. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna do a full breakdown on my YT channel. That'll probably be out sometime tomorrow. But for right now, I think I'm just gonna tell you how I feel about it. There are probably going to be spoilers. There will be spoilers because there's no way to not start this off without spoiling it some. So Soul is, yes, the only one with any kind of personality in this entire series died halfway through the episode. It was a really sad little sight to see because it's like, this is what we're left with. We're left with the blank face Rick James twins and the thirst trap. Yippee. That was the most lackluster, boring season finale. Now, this episode does have two fight scenes, one between May and Osha, and another between Soul and Smilo Ren. We get answers to questions that we already had the answers to. We already knew episode 6 that Master Vanestra, the one that looks like Elphaba, was Smilo Ren's Jedi Master, mentor. I forget the terminology for it. We already knew that. They basically told us that in episode 6. We were also told in episode 6, I mean, if you didn't figure this out, or if you're really like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming, I'm gonna need you to like grow up, mature, something, pay attention. So we already knew that Vanestra was going to basically stab Soul in the back, metaphorically speaking, because by that time Soul was already dead. We knew they were going to tease something that would pique the interest of Star Wars fans, and most of the Star Wars people who have been talking about this show pretty much guessed it. We got what looked like a teaser of Plagueis, Sidious. I heard Sidious. I want to know, anyone else, when she was on her little Jedi phone, she was talking to somebody, that sounded like Palpatine to me. So Darth Sidious. And then we see the back of Yoda's head at the very end. And we also know a lot of this because Leslie Headland has had to do interviews almost every week explaining the show because they've done such a horrible job letting the story tell itself that she's had to do interviews after the fact to answer basic questions. We already knew that May and Osha were going to switch places. Do not look me in my eyeballs and say, I didn't see that coming, liar. What, did you think episode 6 was just to stroke your niblets? No, it was all about previewing this potential relationship between Osha and the bad guy. The problem with all of that, there was no real building before that. Like, it was just, we're gonna drop this here and hopefully it's interesting enough. And luckily for them, the only reason that so many people are begging for a season 2 is because the bad guy is so fine. So now Osha has agreed to be Smilo Ren's apprentice and study under him. May's memory has been wiped out and she's been captured by the Jedi, and Vanestra's trying to spin this story about how Soul unalived all of the Jedi. Remember how episode 5 or 6, one of those episodes, everybody basically was just gone, and she blamed all of that on Soul, and basically, his emotions got the best of him because he was so obsessed with this Padawan. So now Osha is with Smilo Ren, and they're all holding hands and whatnot, kindred spirits betrayed by their masters, and they're teasing basically in a season 2 where it's all about them. The problem is, I don't give a brown rat's ass about Osha. Look at me hitting all 3 of my goals on my Apple Watch. Minus episodes 3 and episode 7, because those were the 2 flashback episodes and they were basically the same episode, just chopped and screwed a bit. Every episode, Amandla Stenberg gave us nothing. It's like, Amandla, be sad. Amandla, be scared. Amandla, you feel betrayed. I mean, gag me with a damn spoon. This season was a crime against humanity. Lucasfilm said, we're going to use both middle fingers. One for the Star Wars fandom and one for the Disney Plus subscribers. That was the most, it's like we're right back where we started. The most lackluster, boring season finale. Once Soul was gone, what's the point in watching? No one cares about Osha / May. We just met Quimir, whatever, and the girlies who are like, oh my gosh, #renew the Acolyte. He's the only reason they're watching. But even then, he's just not interesting enough, personality-wise. He's just good to look at. There's no one left to really care about. Everyone that was any kind of interesting, and there was maybe 1 or 2, is gone. Amandla Stenberg was so forgettable from beginning to end. I think I said it episode 3 or 4. Like, it's quite a talent to be cast as the lead and not even be the main character. Her characters are just not interesting enough to follow. If they're going to do a season 2, they're going to have to make it all about Quimir, Smilo Ren, and make her supporting. She's not an interesting enough lead. I don't care what happens to her. I don't care about her journey. I mean, what was her point? What was the point of this? The entire point of this series was just to basically bash the Jedi. By the time we get to the end of this, it's very clear that the Jedi are the bad guys and they deserve to be punished and they deserve, to be uprooted, flipped upside down in a way. But what's left for us? Are we supposed to just side with Quimir, whatever, the Sith, the bad? 45 years of Star Wars, and you all of a sudden want us to hate the Jedi and be sympathetic to the Sith? This attempt to show nuance that, good people make terrible decisions. Duh, no shit. You know how many TV shows do that just fine? And they're better written? No, they want us to love evil, and it's just not gonna work. Do I think they're going to renew for a season 2? I think they might, because they have something to prove. Leslie Headland has something to prove. As I understand it, Kathleen Kennedy's contract is up for renewal in October, and if Bob Iger has any good sense, he'll say, you know what, we're gonna go in a different direction. Would I watch season 2 if they renewed it? I don't know. Number one, we probably won't get it until 2026 anyway, because that seems to be the thing. Remember the days where, we'd watch a whole season and it would end and then we get season 2 like 6 months later? Like, no, apparently they don't do that no more. It takes 2 years for us to get a new season of anything. I don't understand that. But yeah, it probably won't be until 2026 until they give us a second season. And I don't know if I could do it. I'd rather drink backed up toilet water. Just straight trash.